All right, how's everybody doing? We are back with another video. Here I am doing some heavy laterals. These are 40-pound dumbbells. I did 3 sets of 10 to 15. I like to do these heavy laterals. I think I got this from John Meadows as well. I think I can't quite remember, but just really trying to challenge my shoulders in that bottom position, not worrying about the full range of motion. I know I preach that a lot, but in some instances, I go against that a little bit. I just realized that I forgot to put the sets and reps and everything in this video, so I'll just kind of talk through it. I did these overhead tricep extensions. I watched the video back and didn't really like the technique. I wasn't coming back far enough, like down my back. So I actually filmed a second set of these as well. I like these early morning sessions. I know it was Sunday early morning because we ended up having to go to Pennsylvania to visit my wife's grandmother for her 90th birthday. So it's just always better when I get these sessions done early in the morning, first thing. I just feel a lot better. Here's some rear delt work. Again, 3 sets on these. I was between 12 to 20 on these as well. Yeah, I mean, with training, I know I've kind of beat this to death, this concept of just having fun with training, but it's remarkable how much it's freed up my bandwidth to just actually do well. And it's also amazing how much this has informed the rest of my life. I've been training people since 2008, and I did my first strength conditioning internship in the college sector in 2010. And one of the things that was really instilled in me by the coaches there was, above all else, your priority has to be to train and to compete. You never really know what the athletes or clients or adults or whatever that you're working with are going through unless you're doing it yourself and you're making it a big priority, because that's what you're preaching to them. So you got to make it a priority yourself. But it's just amazing how much that concept continues to come back to me. Even after this long of coaching. I mean, I'm past 15 years now of coaching. So this is always something that's just at the forefront of my mind and gets brought back to the forefront of my mind every few years of just how important it actually is. These were some bench press clusters, trying some different things with my bench, trying to build that bench back up. So on this first day, instead of going like super heavy because I don't have any spotters or anything like that, I'm doing cluster sets, just trying to get in a higher density of work done within the session at heavier loads. This didn't necessarily feel great. I don't really know why. Just everything felt heavy, and I'm really still trying to figure out what my grip needs to be. Previously, my grip was always wide, and then when I started bodybuilding, I brought that grip back in a little bit, actually a lot of it. So now I'm trying to figure out which one feels better to move the most weight. So yeah, so I'm kind of playing around with that with these cluster sets. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Yeah, I mean, especially you go through different phases of your life. So when I was younger and didn't have any other responsibilities other than going to school and coaching, training was always really well. I could really plan things out well as far as the periodization. I could program really well because I knew what was coming next. Like I knew the life stressors and things of that sort. But then post having kids and having multiple jobs and mortgage and stuff, it's just amazing to me how much all of that stuff gets thrown out the window. Like I think it's the Mike Tyson quote, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And I really think that's how training is as well. You can have the best program, periodization model, whatever, and life's going to punch you in the face, especially if you're I said this before, but if you're a low stress individual and nothing ever seems to bother you, then yeah, you probably get away with some really maintaining a good quality of, not good quality, but a good plan with whatever periodization model or programming method you're using. But someone like myself, and I think most people, you're just fucking strung out all the time because there's just so much life stress and things like that. So you really have to mold your training around that rather than trying to mold your life around training. It just doesn't seem to work out that way. But my point is like, it's just funny how every 3 to 5 years this concept seems to rear its head again, and it really hits me in a positive way, because it makes me a better coach. And that's what I think the coaches that I worked under when I was younger, that's what they were trying to get in my head is, at different stages of your life, training is just going to go different. Life stresses are going to be different. And that's what your clients and athletes are going through as well. So you have to know how to adapt and continue to train, because most people, I won't say most people, a lot of people will just end up quitting because they're just trying to mold their life around training, and it doesn't work out that way well, and they don't know how to adapt, and they just quit. And I think that concept really applies to this idea of winning. I think if your goal is always to be the best or to win, I don't know how long you're going to last when it comes to training or really doing much else in your life. Thankfully I was never super great at anything I did. Most of it was basketball. But it really wasn't until I started powerlifting, and then, as a strength and conditioning coach and bodybuilding, where I really realized that, hey, it can't be about winning, because if it's always about winning, I'm never going to be the best, because it's just not there. So it has to be about something else, and that something else is the process of getting better. So if I'm always concerned about the process and doing the best that I possibly can, yes, I might win sometimes, I might lose sometimes, but I'm always going to stay consistent, because it's just about the process of everything, and understanding that there's always going to be things that get in the way. There's always going to be ebbs and flows, and good times, bad times. And you just got to keep your head down and keep doing the work. Because if you're constantly concerned about winning, there's going to be a point in time where you don't win. And I think about professional athletes with this. By the way, these are some Kroc rows against bands. I really recommend these Kroc rows against bands. It was just a gnarly lat pump. And then I went into dumbbell presses from here. Again, just trying to get a lot of volume into my chest. So anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. But I think, when you're always about winning, I think about professional athletes who, at one point they were the best. So, eventually they're not the best. And then they kind of fall off, and, they gain a bunch of weight, and they're not healthy anymore, and things like that. So I think it eventually it has to become about something more than just winning. And I think that something more is you just have to be obsessed with the process of getting better. And the process entails good days and bad days, and taking those in stride and just continuing to work, continuing to keep your head down and just push through. So anyway, there's my little motivational talk. Here I am doing neutral grip pull-ups. Again, really trying to play it safe with my bicep tendon. I chose to forego physical therapy and just trying to rehab it myself. You can see with these neutral grip pull-ups, I'm kind of like turning it into almost like a horizontal row. Just trying to take stress off the tendon while keeping a little bit on it to hopefully try and rehab it. We got pronated front raises. I do this for my medial delts, even though it seems like it's for my anterior delts. It's more for the medial delts. That's why I really, really over-exaggerate pronating my hand. Look at that. I mean, if that Britney Spears t-shirt doesn't say style, I don't know what does. If you're a millennial and you went to elementary school and middle school and high school in the late 90s and early 2000s, Britney, she was the queen. So I had to represent with my cropped Britney shirt. Got banded pushdowns. Again, an oldie but a goodie. Taking a page out of Louis' book, doing 100 total reps, just splitting them up however I need to. Sometimes I got 20, sometimes I got 15, sometimes I got 10, but I just accumulated 100 total on this. Again, I really do recommend those Kroc rows that I was doing earlier, though. Can't say enough about those banded Kroc rows. Again, not just Kroc rows, but banded Kroc rows. Here we are with some more rehab work. These are 10-pound dumbbells. This is my first time curling. Just doing a regular supinated curl. So just trying to get back to using my biceps. Like, subscribe, comment, trying to keep this channel going, trying to get some good content going and good training.